here recording a quick little desktop demonstration on some of the perspective and distort tools we used in class as we start to explore some different ways of creating three-dimensional space in a two-dimensional plane for our event poster design. So I'm going to go in and create a new poster. We're going to make it 11 by 17, 150 RGB white. And remember, we're going to double click and name our background canvas. And then we're going to go in and open, like we did in class, our barn image. So let's just scroll through here real quick. There we go. Remember Command A, Command C to bring it over to our poster. And we took our move tool and we slid it over. So we had the maximum amount of roof area there for our image. We're going to rename this layer barn. And this is where we used our text tool and did the word corn in all caps. And we went in and we chose a heavy typeface. I'm just going to use Myriad Pro. Many of you kind of did different fonts that are heavy fonts. Remember, we went in with our eyedropper. We chose our properties up here for our type and used our eyedropper and clicked on one of the darker colors. And go in here and make this. We'll start with 150 and then we'll select our move tool and do option from the corner and scale this thing up a little bit. Remembering that we need to do the maximum height and width so that when we do any kind of distort or perspective, we're scaling down, not scaling up. So we'll go ahead and hit return. Now remember, we went into our layers palette and did control click and we did rasterize type. And rasterize type takes it from a vector graphic in a text editing field and made it pixels. So now we can go into our edit transform and we did distort and we grabbed the corners here and we kind of made this thing fit in. I'm actually going to pinch this over and pinch this over like we did in class. And we're going to angle the roof. Make sure that is like that and stretch this out a little bit. And you'll notice I'm trying to follow the plane of the roof line, which means that's equal width to the roof there, kind of equal width to the roof here, and kind of equal width to the roof here. So you'll see I'm making a little white picture frame around it. And when I'm done, I'll hit enter. And now I have that there. And then we went in and we typed maze, because we're going to follow this roof line. We kept it the same color. Remember, control click on our layer and we're going to rasterize type. And then we're going to move this over and it's already a pretty good height. We're going to do edit, transform, distort. I'm going to grab this corner and grab this corner, grab this corner. Kind of move that in, grab this corner. And so now we're just going to kind of pinch this a little bit. Equidistance here, equidistance here, equidistance there. Hit enter. Can nudge it over with our keys either way. And now we have corn and maze. And then we did, now remember, based on your stacks of layers, that's how everything is introduced and visible in your design. And then we went in and we did pumpkin. We made this type white, right? We're going to go over here and control click and rasterize type. And now we're going to move our type over so that when we do edit, transform, distort, we can move that to there. We can move this to there. We can move that down to there. And we can move this down to there. And now if I zoom in, you're going to see I'm trying to make a straight line, flush line with this pillar. So pretty good there. Equidistance, a nice stripe, equidistance there, a nice stripe, equidistance there. We're going to hit enter. now I'm going to go in. Now remember, we did like a hard soft light, and that makes it blend in as if it was there forever, kind of there. And then we're gonna do what did we do? Pumpkin. I have to look at the ad again. It was pumpkin, let's see. Pumpkin patch. That's what we need, pumpkin patch. So let's type in the word patch. Let's move that layer up by dragging it up. Let's control click on it and do rasterize type. Let's do edit, transform, distort. Now we're gonna pinch that down, pinch that down. I'm gonna try to follow the same spacing as far as the distance from the edges are. So I'll put that there. And then we'll move it down to there and move it to here. And you can see I'm just following the same lines. And then we'll do soft light. And so now I have pumpkin patch and I have corn maze, all being done with our edit distort tool so that we can follow the paths of the building. We also did the logo, so let's click on our, make sure we're on our top layer here. Let's do file open. Let's find our logo. And remember, it's transparent. So if we do Command A, Command C, that's what this checkerboard is. And then we'll go and do Command V. I'm gonna grab the corner and hold the Option key down to scale from middle. I'm going to shrink that down and hit enter. Then let's zoom in and let's do edit, transform, distort. Now remember, we don't have to right click and rasterize it because we opened it in Photoshop and already did that. So let's follow the lines of the roof line here. Zoom out. I think right about there. We'll hit enter. So we can do all kinds of stuff. We could burn it in the barn. I kind of like sometimes doing an overlay. Let's name it logo. Zoom out. And so now we have some of our graphics. When you do something that has a different layer style, it kind of brings it forward if you kind of make it a brighter saturation, and that way the logo kind of jumps forward a little bit. All right, so we have that stuff. Now, in our lecture, we also brought in an EPS file by doing file open. We picked the EPS file, and remember it asks for a dimension. So we're gonna switch these to inches, make this 13 by roughly 15. We're gonna click OK. Remember, the checkerboard means it's transparent, so we're gonna do Command A, Command C. And we're gonna come in and make sure it's on our top layer. So we're gonna paste it. We're gonna grab the corner, hold down the Option key to scale it down. So here's our little guy. Now we made him just big enough, but not too big, so we could still see the words pumpkin and patch. So let's zoom him out a little. I haven't hit enter yet, so I still have the ability to adjust. And so we're gonna make him about that big. Once I hit enter, he is pixels, so we can't then go back and scale him up. So I'm gonna select him, name him Scarecrow. Let's do edit, transform, distort, and we're just gonna pivot him a little bit. So let's scroll him up. So let's just pivot him a little bit. Not drastically, but you know, just a little bit to give him a little perspective. So I'm kind of doing just kind of a lean him forward, lean him on an angle kind of thing, so you can see him right there. I'm gonna hit enter. Now remember, we have all of the layer styles over here at our fingertips for our layers. If I double click on him, I could do a drop shadow and make him stand out a little bit. Also in class, we applied a satin finish to him. We made it white. And remember, we crank this up. Look at what happens if I crank up our effects in normal. It makes him completely whitewashed out. So I'm just going to crank the size down. So you see that sheen right there? So watch what happens. See how he's covered in it, but he has the edges are clear. Now watch what happens if I crank it down. It gives him just a little bit of a highlight. You see that? Sometimes I like to do that just to give him the appearance of. So let's crank it back up. So watch what happens if I shrink it down and blur it in a little bit. It's only bright right there. So watch when I crank it down now. The highlight is only in the center of him. I'll give him a little sheen, not too much, just a little bit, just to highlight him a little bit, like he's weathered. Click OK. And there is our type, rasterized type. Edit, distort to give it perspective. We opened up an EPS file, made sure that the resolution was larger than our final output. We did Command A, Command C to copy it, and Command V to bring it in. And here is the beginning of our effects using perspective and distortion. Have a great beginning of the week, gang.